My name is Howard Klean. I'm a ward member here at Progress, Texas. Democrats need to message better to all of our potential constituents, and I think that Progress Texas is doing the best job of any organization in the state in that regard, and that's what I like about the organization. Nothing lasts forever. Things can change quickly, and I use as an example, in 2004, Republicans controlled everything, and in 2008, Obama won in a real landslide. We had 59 Senate seats that we had. We had gone from 45 to 59 in a 4-year period, and things change quickly.
It's Friday, February 14th, 2025, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. We've lately been having our laughs about Elon Musk's 4-year-old kid dressing down Donald Trump in the Oval Office, and voices in the U.S. Congress, mainly from the Democratic minority, have begun realizing that that body has abdicated its greatest strength, the power of the purse, to the world's richest man. But some of the worst parts of the Musk situation are beginning to take form. Troublingly, Justice Tulsi Gabbard, a known collaborator with some of the world's worst dictators, has been sworn in as U.S. Director of National Intelligence. Mark Bennett at the London Times writes that Russian officials have begun appealing to Elon Musk and the Trump regime for information on exiled Russian opposition figures, whom they theorize have been helped by the U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID. This is in reaction to Musk's characterization of that agency as a criminal organization. He's accused of funneling money illegally to far-left organizations, with no evidence to corroborate that claim, of course, but plenty for the chairman of Russia's parliament to reason, quote, if they recognize the organization as an enemy, let them give us the lists. Congress will send us the lists. We will give them to the FSB, unquote. That's Russia's security service. Russian officials have suspected that dissidents who are being supported by USAID, they consider Musk's loose cannon commentary on the matter proof of that theory, and now they want names. Meanwhile, the Texas Tribune and ProPublica have been following a troubling trend in the mass deportation story. Over the last couple of weeks, flights of detained migrants from Texas to the shadowy U.S. detention site at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, have begun. About 100 migrants sent there so far. This operation even more shady than the one that location is most notorious for, the holding of several suspects related to the 9/11 terrorist attacks of 2001. In that case, at least, we knew who was being held and under what specific suspicions. In this case, while some pictures have been released, no names or specific reasons for these new migrant detainments have been officially detailed. ICE officials have simply said the worst of the worst are heading for Guantanamo, but the Trib and ProPublica journalists have figured out that 3 of them are Venezuelan men, 2 with no criminal background outside of illegal entry into the U.S., and the third's only crime beyond that appears to be an accusation that he kicked a police officer while being restrained during a riot. Family members of the 3 say they've been told nothing by U.S. officials, even after providing documentation of their relative innocence from the Venezuelan Interior Ministry. The ACLU has filed a lawsuit here, lead attorney Lee Gelernt saying, quote, never before have people been taken from U.S. soil and sent to Guantanamo and then denied access to lawyers in the outside world. It is difficult to think of anything so flagrantly at odds with the fundamental principles on which our country was built, unquote. To boil this down, the Trump regime has begun exploring ways to make people they don't want around simply disappear. Extremely troubling read from the Texas Tribune in the show notes. Also in immigration, and this one's almost funny, but there's just too much funny stuff lately to try to keep smiling about. Faith Bugenhagen at the Houston Chronicle says Governor Greg Abbott has gotten into a debate about the contents and meaning of the Holy Bible with the Pope. Pope Francis, notably the first pope from Latin America, issued a statement a few days ago expressing concern about Trump and Abbott's mass deportation operations of late, saying in part that Jesus Christ, quote, did not live apart from the difficult experience, unquote, of being a migrant himself, adding, quote, what is built on the basis of force and not on the truth about the equal dignity of every human being begins badly and will end badly, unquote. Governor Abbott is said to have smiled kindly, shrugged his shoulders, and schooled the Pope that, quote, the Bible calls for strong borders and law and order, and Jesus guided others to follow the laws of the land, unquote. Especially for Catholics, and really for all Christians, the governor of Texas coming anywhere near an assertion that his understanding of the Word of God surpasses that of the Pope should be truly shocking and deeply offensive. That is, if you're actually following your faith and not the perverted version that Republicans are using to justify cruelty and grift. We're learning, by the way, this morning that Pope Francis has been hospitalized for bronchitis. We wish him a speedy recovery. One more on immigration today, as Human Rights Watch has reported on new numbers showing that high-speed vehicle pursuits by Texas state troopers, as well as local police related to Operation Lone Star, have killed at least 106 people and injured 301 others since the program began in 2021. A great many of these dead and injured are simply bystanders in the wrong place at the wrong time, as law enforcement officers engage in highly dangerous chases of suspected undocumented migrants. Some of those killed have been young children, a completely unnecessary tragedy. But unfortunately, Trump and Abbott are doing nothing to mitigate this ridiculous public risk, instead increasing the role of state and local law enforcement in deportation efforts and holding fast to officer conduct policies that allow for deadly vehicle pursuits to continue. See the link in the show notes. Over to reproductive rights and that potentially precedent-setting case we've talked about regarding a New York OBGYN targeted by Attorney General Ken Paxton for providing abortion medications to Texas patients via telemedicine. Latest on that from Lauren Irwin at The Hill, who says a Texas judge has issued a fine against Dr. Maggie Carpenter of New York, ordering her to pay more than $100,000 in penalties. New York Governor Kathy Hochul has had Dr. Carpenter's back here. She just signed into law this week new legislation to protect the identities of healthcare providers that prescribe abortion medication, and has also rejected an attempt by the state of Louisiana to extradite Dr. Carpenter there over similar complaints. Olivia Aldridge at KUT in Austin says New York and several other states, including Colorado and Washington, have shield laws designed to protect their doctors from prosecution originating from states where abortion is illegal, and that Margaret Carpenter works for multiple organizations that provide telemedicine abortion services. She's also the co-founder of the Abortion Coalition for Telemedicine, a group that supports access to abortion medication from states that have shield laws. To energy, and one of those cases where bad news has come with reassurances not to panic. However, in the case of the Texas power grid, panic is never very far away. Another from the Texas Tribune and reporter Kayla Guo, who says ERCOT released a power availability forecast yesterday that indicates that our state's ever-escalating thirst for power could surpass the grid's ability to provide it by next summer. But don't panic, y'all. That scenario is merely the most dire of the several different potential scenarios that could develop. Key to the worry about increasing demand are things like data centers and crypto farms that have not yet come online. Several experts are scoffing at the data used here by ERCOT, saying they've overestimated the demand that will actually come online by next summer and also underestimated the power contributions of renewable sources. But definitely don't panic, right? February is Black History Month, and Progress Texas Advocacy Associate Tatum Owens has put together a great essay on this year's celebration, including an extensive list of Black History Month events taking place across the state. See also in the show notes a new listing of Black-owned businesses to support from the Austin American Statesman, including fine operations in El Paso, Corpus Christi, Houston, DeSoto, Fort Worth, and more. Our funding at Progress Texas is rarely sufficient for us to plan much more than a quarter or two ahead, but the conservative disinformation machine we oppose has no such obstacle. They're funded by oil and tech billionaires and religious right-wing activist groups. Our regular everyday listeners form a key component of our funding here at Progress Texas. If that's you, we could use your support as a monthly contributor, and no amount is too small. Go to progresstexas.org/donate. Thanks so much to Krista Varney, Pete Schenken, and Amy O'Neill, all three of whom are on the team. We appreciate all of y'all very much. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Friday, February 14th, 2025. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit rapid response media organization promoting progressive messages and actions. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks for listening. Have a great day and a great weekend. Happy Valentine's Day. We'll see you again on Monday.